If you think you know someone with an odd pet, think again. We bet these 20 people have them beat. They're best buds with some of the wildest creatures imaginable. If you've ever wanted to see someone hug a hippo or cuddle a kangaroo, then listen on. Just don't try this at home. Yup, you heard us right, a capybara. That's the world's largest rodent for those of you who aren't in the know. Although capybaras are indigenous to South America, Gary's owner couldn't look after him any longer. So he went to live in Melanie and Richard Tipaldos' Texas home. They went as far as to get the water-loving rodent his own swimming pool. In 2013, Melanie told British newspaper The Sun, although some people might find it strange, it's really no different than having a dog or cat. Gary's really smart and he's very affectionate. Apparently he gets along with the other pets in the family's menagerie too, except the tortoise, who apparently has a penchant for invading Gary's personal space. We'll grant you that snakes and rat snakes in particular are a fairly common pet, but stay with us here. You see, Philly and Gumbo aren't your average reptiles. It's hard to say whether you'd even count them as a pair of snakes or a single one, because they share the same body. Tani Janus took Philly and Gumbo in after their neighbor found them in a Louisiana backyard. Apparently, their unique appearance is probably the result of their embryos not splitting properly, leaving them with separate brains in a single body. What's more, snakes such as this don't usually live long in the wild either. At least the serpent siblings are in good hands with Janice. Juniper, who also goes by the happiest fox, is the most famous face in Jessica Coker's Rescued Exotics home. She isn't the only one though. You see, Juniper shares her humans with a group of rescue animals, some of which were saved from fur farms. That means they were bred for their pelts and differ genetically from wild foxes. They wouldn't survive on their own. Juniper's now living happily with her fellow foxes and adopted doggy family. Juniper's sassy, her humans wrote on their website in 2017. I've never met anyone, human or animal, more sassy than she is. She'll always let me know exactly how she feels about something. If she dislikes what's going on, she'll walk over, ears back, and scream at me, then casually walk away. Yes, foxes can scream. If you're looking for meerkats, you'd probably think South Africa, not Hampshire, England. Still, that's where Jack and Mila live with their human parents, Laura Gilbert and Tom Dawson. They raised the meerkats from babies, and the critters have been part of the family ever since. All the same, the couple don't recommend you take meerkats into your home lightly. Gilbert and Dawson explain that meerkats require a lot of care, and even so, both genders react very differently to humans. Jack, for example, loves people, including visitors. Yet, while Mila's affectionate with her family, if she sees strangers, she tends to go on the offensive, often targeting unsuspecting well-wishers' necks. Meerkats may be small, but they have comparatively big teeth. When outdoor enthusiast Kelly Lund sought out a companion with similar interests, she found his match in Loki. Kelly's best pal is in large part husky and Malamute, but one of Loki's recent ancestors is a wolf. That makes Loki a hybrid wolf dog, and their adventurous exploits have made them both social media celebrities. Since Kelly first uploaded a photograph of himself sleeping with Loki on a hammock, their fame has skyrocketed. Kelly even resigned from his former employment in 2016 in favor of acting as the wolf dog's full-time photographer and manager. He attributes Loki's success entirely to the wolf dog, though. Loki's this really special dog in that you can see his spirit through his eyes, he told website Alpha Universe in 2018. Back in 2014, Laura Young of the Bahamas found an injured baby raccoon. It had suffered a broken leg. Without an animal rescue center nearby, she felt she had no choice but to take the critter in herself. Young called the little girl Pumpkin, but even after nursing it back to health, she couldn't find Pumpkin's mother. Pumpkin stayed with Young, becoming a social media star and charity fundraiser with 1.4 million followers. Sadly, Pumpkin passed away at age 4, and her adoptive owner paid her a heartbreaking tribute. In 2019, she wrote on Instagram, "Pumpkin would lick the tears from my face and it would make me laugh and smile. She did this so many times." This is one mammal that'll be sorely missed. Talk about bringing home the bacon. Doriana Gistosi and Raffaella Pederini found Piglin Pasqualina injured in Italian woodlands. Naturally, they took her in and decided to keep the little porker. However, Pasqualina was no teacup pig. She grew into a massive boar, and we don't mean that as an insult. Gistosi and Pederini's porcine pal has developed a liking for the indoor life. Pasqualina loved to climb on the furniture and sleep on the bed. Pederini also told a Sun in 2015 that their pigs snuggle like a dog. She loves cuddling, she described. She likes physical contact, she communicates a lot with us. She's very affectionate, and we're like her parents. Jeffrey Condon of Tanzania's Greystroke Mahale camp became birds of a feather with a pelican separated from its flock during a storm. Staff named the orphan Big Bird and taught him everything a pelican should know. They gave him swimming, fishing, and even flying lessons. In fact, camp staff recorded Big Bird's progress for millions of internet watchers. The animal rescuers hoped to one day release Big Bird into the wild, but he upsettingly died in a boating accident in 2016. Staff wrote on their blog Nomad Tanzania, "He was taken too early but had a very loving and exciting life with all us here." To the ones who got to know our friendly pelican, you will have the greatest memories to treasure forever. Don't feel bad if you've never heard of a kinkajou. These adorable little mammals usually live in rainforests, but Stella's different. Her home's in Florida with Justin and Samantha Powell, who've had Stella since she was a baby. Although the little critter's tiny, she's packed with personality. Justin told British newspaper The Daily Mail in 2017, "She's very rambunctious and energetic. We call her our Royal Highness." Kinkajous don't train very well. It's a matter of letting her do what she wants. Incidentally, Paris Hilton also owned a kinkajou called Baby Love. Paris hit the headlines in 2006 when it bit her, though thankfully the wound wasn't serious. In 2020, a touching documentary featuring filmmaker Craig Foster called My Octopus Teacher hit Netflix. It chronicles the year in Craig's life when he made friends with a wild female octopus. The footage shows the intelligent species in a new light and left Craig changed from his interactions with her. "The octopus showed me many behaviors that were completely new to science because this animal trusted me," Foster told CNN that year. Nor is he the only person to make a connection with octopuses, or octopi if you prefer. Actor Nicolas Cage reportedly also owned an octopus that apparently helped improve his acting, though what that means is anyone's guess. If you want something to put a spring in your step, check out Damien the kangaroo. Jackson O'Doherty, an Australian comedian, rescued Damien from the roadside where her mother had abandoned her. After that, Damien never wanted to leave her human daddy, yes, Damien really is a Sheila, as a 2016 video on his YouTube channel provides. The footage shows Damien chasing the comedian along a beach to the store and all around town. The pair even stopped to get some attention from passers-by. Watching the little Joey bounce after a rescue is truly heartwarming. See, not all the Australian wildlife wants to kill you, just most of it. When you think of love stories, they don't usually involve humans and birds. But that's exactly what the tale between Dindim the penguin and João Pereira de Souza is in the purest sense. Retired bricklayer de Souza discovered Dindim in 2011, soaked in oil and immobilized, so he rushed to the penguin's aid. De Souza spent days cleaning the oil off Dindim and feeding him until the penguin was well enough to leave. Dindim did just that. He was free after all, but it wasn't the last time they met. Every year since then, Dindim has returned to visit the man who saved his life. Back in 2019, Rambo the alligator went viral thanks to some candid pics on social media. He was a celebrity in Lakeland, Florida well before that, though. Former professional wrestler Mary Thorne recounted to YouTube channel Beastly how she'd rescued Rambo from animal cruelty. Unfortunately, the alligator's 4 years in captivity had already left him immunocompromised. Thorne treated Rambo like her baby in the subsequent years, claiming that he'd die if released back into the wild. Still, 11 years after Rambo's rescue, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission FFWCC tried to separate them. Ultimately, the animal lover was awarded custody of Rambo on the condition she doesn't exhibit him. Needless to say, she snapped up the offer. Poor old Atu the reindeer didn't have the best start in life. His mother abandoned him in a forest in Lapland. Atu's fortunes turned around when Pia Tukanek took him in. She raised the reindeer herself and now he's somewhat domesticated and enjoys the company of humans. Tukanen spoke to YouTube channel Zoom and Local Heroes on the subject in 2013. She said, "Normally reindeers don't want to hang out with people. They don't want to be touched, they don't want to be around people. This one thinks he's a dog." Atu spends most of his time outside but likes to visit his mom indoors on special occasions. This story doesn't exactly start like a Disney special, but stay with us, it has a happy ending. Exotic animal lover Brian Hahn purchased a hyena called Jake from a private zoo under false pretenses. Unsurprisingly, Jake didn't like his Miami Beach apartment. In 2011, Brian told newspaper The Miami New Times the first 3 months were hell. Jake's owner did the right thing and handed the hyena over to Mario Tabrao's Zoological Wildlife Foundation. Brian can visit Jake anytime he wishes, and the experiences made him realize he wants to work with animals. "The bond I have with this wild animal is absolutely priceless," Brian recounted. "The love Jake and I share is unbreakable." Where else would you find someone with a pet buffalo but in Texas? The beefcake belongs to Ronnie and Sharon Bridges, who are former buffalo ranchers. Medical expenses caused them to sell the herd, but there was one they couldn't part with. That was a big boy called Wild Thing. The Bridges have raised Wild Thing from a 3-month-old calf and say his house manners are impeccable. In 2017, Ronnie informed Inside Edition, "He's a house pet. Outside he plays really rough, but inside the house he's a real gentleman." They also reported that Wild Thing is house trained. Can you imagine if he wasn't? Yikes. We know what you're thinking. Who looked at grizzly bears and decided they'd make great pets? Well, more than one person actually. The first is Casey Anderson, a professional wildlife trainer and keeper. His best buddy is a grizzly called Brutus, who he rescued from euthanasia at a wildlife park, which had more animals than it could safely accommodate. Anderson raised Brutus from a cub in his own bear sanctuary and regularly wrestles with a gentle giant. Meanwhile, Moscow couple Svetlana and Yuri Panteleyka also raised the softie Stepan from a cub. In his case, Stepan's biological mother abandoned him at 3 months old. Both Brutus and Stepan work in movies, while Stepan is also a renowned Russian model. In 2020, the bear's photographer, Mila Zhdanova, discussed her client with the Moscow Times newspaper. She revealed Stepan's so friendly thanks to his trainer's care and love. Let's not split hairs here. Polar bears are dangerous. There are recorded cases of them attacking and killing humans. That's why animal trainer Mark Dumas is the only man to survive swimming with one. And that polar bear is none other than his best friend A.G., the star of the 1996 movie Alaska. Oh, we should also mention Charlton Heston also appeared in the flick, of course. Dumas trained A.G. using positive reinforcement methods and intended to make her a family member. The bear lover describes A.G. as a bit of a diva on set, though. Indeed, Dumas's wife Dawn is the only other person A.G. tolerates. A.G. apparently sees Dawn like a sister and sometimes joins the odd couple's swimming sessions. Costa Rican Gilberto Shedden, also known as Cheeto, always loved crocodiles, but they never let him get too close. That is until he found an injured one with a bullet wound in its head. Cheeto couldn't resist nursing it back to health despite the fears of his friends and family, but that's how he met Pocho. Cheeto and Pocho grew close over the years, and the croc proved very docile. Cheeto would put his hand in Pocho's mouth, and the two began to put on public shows. The pair developed an unbreakable bond, and Pocho became quite the celebrity. It's no wonder that when the crocodile passed away in 2011, his local town held a touching funeral for him. Rest in peace, Pocho.